right, it's Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy, right now with this week's Outstanding Life podcast, and I am sitting with Hunter Smith, and he owns Fit Stop Performance. Hunter, what is going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Thank you for having me.
Man, this is a lot of fun. We're in North Carolina right now, but we just figured out last night, or this morning, I should say, because we both thought about this last night.
Yeah.
That we actually met in Pocono about 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And you were even younger then, obviously. So you're only, 22, 23 years old now?
Yep, 22. I'll be 23 in December. So,
man, that is crazy. So I met you at the Chevy stage, isn't that right?
yeah, the Chevy stage up at Pocono. I'm not good at math, but 9 years ago, I was probably 13 or 14 years old. I was 13 or 14 years old, and
you were there watching. I'll never forget. You just showed me a picture, and it was Spencer Gallagher and you were watching me interview Spencer Gallagher up on the Chevy stage. And so, have you always been a NASCAR fan?
Yeah, I was born into a NASCAR fan family. So I wasn't born into a NASCAR driving family, unfortunately. But my dad's a mechanic, so he was a big Dale Earnhardt fan growing up, big GM fan.
So does that mean that you were a Earnhardt fan as well? Or were you more a junior fan and not a senior fan?
When I was a kid, I wasn't a fan of either one of them, honestly.
Was it Jeff Gordon?
No, it wasn't Jeff Gordon.
Really?
I fell into Bobby Labonte when I was a kid.
I love Bobby, because he used to race with Pontiac, and that's who I used to be with.
Yep, I was a big Bobby Labonte fan as a kid. I liked the M&M car because I was a kid.
Back then it was Kenny Schrader.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I still have a bunch of old M&M memorabilia and Pontiac stuff back home because I was a Pontiac too. But
home is where?
Wantage, New Jersey.
Wantage, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And now you are in North Carolina.
Yep.
So 9 years ago, I remember you coming up to the Chevy stage, and it's so funny because now we're just sitting here in this conference room in one of the shops, and you wanted to be a race car driver, and you were racing.
Yep.
And you were racing go-karts.
Yeah. At the time, I was running go-karts up in Pennsylvania just because New Jersey ain't much for racetracks. So,
right, yeah.
I was running go-karts up in Pennsylvania, doing all kinds of stuff there, dirt cars mainly. And then came over to the Chevy stage Pocono weekend, and I guess the rest is history from there.
Right, yeah, because I would see you a couple times a year.
Yeah.
So you were a fan growing up. You were a racer. What made you want to get into the fit performance part of racing? Is it because you realize that racing costs a lot of money and you're like, hey, listen, I still want to be in the business, so this is what I want to do? Or was it something that you have a passion for? Why did you start this road? Yeah,
well, let me tell you kind of the backstory a little bit. When I was 5 years old when Dale Earnhardt passed away.
Okay.
We have a big Daytona 500 party at my house every year. We had all my dad's friends. They all came over. We had a good time. And I remember that year was just like, I was 5 years old. I didn't really know a whole lot what was going on.
Yeah.
But that day, and it sounds weird, but that day was when I fell in love with racing because I saw how much that passing of Dale Earnhardt affected my dad. And he, in my 5-year-old mind, he needed a new driver to cheer for, and what better than to be his son? And that's what I wanted.
Wow,
I wanted to be in racing at that point. So, money wasn't there at the time when I was 5.
So, did you ask your dad for a go-kart?
Oh yeah, the next day. I pretty much said, I was like, I want to race. Dad, let me race. Dad, let me race. And he remember morally he was all for it, but Mom, we checked the checkbook and it just wasn't feasible. So I played soccer. You name the sport, I played it.
Yeah.
All growing up. So then I was 12, and
were you good at sports? And the reason why I ask is because I love asking the NASCAR drivers if they were good at sports. And 98% of the time, they're like, absolutely not. Why do you think I'm up here talking to you right now?
Yeah, it depends on the sport. Like, I played soccer from kindergarten till sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
And I was, in my mind, I was a good soccer player. I played basketball, and there's a reason I stopped. I played.
You're not that tall.
Yeah, I played baseball. There was a reason I stopped. And then I fell into actually being a driver, when I was 12, we finally, and my parents always told me, they said, we'll support you in any way possible, aside from financially.
Yeah.
And my dad, like I said, my dad's a mechanic, so I got really lucky in that aspect, is that he could do the work on the cars and the motors.
Right.
And I tell you, he's the best crew chief that NASCAR hasn't found yet.
Really?
He can set a car up with his eyes. It's
That's awesome.
ridiculous. So, to this day, I still don't know how he does it, but,
so your dad was the mechanic and your dad was the crew chief.
My dad was everything.
And you never fired him.
No, and I think there was one night, but my dad he was an old school mechanic that, he's just, like I said, he's the best at what he does.
Yeah.
And it was always funny because my dad's a mechanic, my mom works in a bank. So we thought we had the money, but every day, so I remember a night, this is the kind of crew chief mechanic dad that my dad is. And we were at the go-kart track and I came in after a heat race and I was just, I think I was 13 or 14 years old.
Now, wait a second. You said you raced go-karts. Now, go-karts on dirt or go-karts on asphalt?
I started off primarily just on dirt.
Oh, wow.
I primarily just did dirt races.
No kidding.
And then when I got into bigger cars, I started doing a little bit of both.
Okay.
So I have experience on both. I actually, believe it or not, my talent level was on the asphalt, but my fun was on the dirt.
I heard that racing on dirt is the most fun you could have with your clothes on, let's say.
It's a good time. Yeah, I love dirt racing. Like I said, my skill set, I always performed better on asphalt. I would always find myself about mid-pack in dirt races.
Right.
But I would have a blast racing the dirt car. But,
so you loved it? Did you ever get hurt racing when you were young?
I had one incident. My throttle stuck going into a corner in a bigger car that I was racing. And the track that I was racing on was shaped like Martinsville. It kind of had like a paper clip.
Yeah.
So you lose your brakes, it's not going to be a fun turn that you're going into. So I didn't really get hurt. I banged my head and probably ended up with an undiagnosed concussion, but banged my knee on the roll bar a little bit. But other than that, I got lucky.
So let's just because you are the first, well, I should say the second, because I did have somebody else on that, started doing some racing later on, but they're not a race car driver.
Yeah.
So because I have a lot of fans that, and a lot of people that listen that don't know anything about racing.
Right.
So in racing, you have to have a fire suit.
Yeah.
You have to have a helmet. You have to have gloves. You have to have your, special shoes.
Yeah.
Do you remember getting your first fire suit and your first helmet? And was it new or was it used? Because just like you said, you had a budget.
Yeah.
You were on a budget and people outgrow them. So I know that they probably resell them.
Yeah.
So do you remember getting that? Because that's like a big deal.
So my first helmet and my first fire suit didn't come together. So my first helmet I got years before, because we had a 4-wheeler at our house that I would tear up the yard with. So I had a helmet for that, and I used that for my first year of go-karts.
Really?
Yeah. And then my first fire suit came with the go-kart when we bought it, and I could still thank the guy who sold me the go-kart to this day, because it was $1,500 and it was the go-kart, the motors, and the fire suit all in one package. And I was like, okay, bye, thank you. Like, I just left before he realized what he sold. So,
right, yeah.
And we pretty much overhauled that whole cart and everything. But yeah, I remember I got home with the cart, and I think the first thing I did was put the fire suit on.
Wow. Yeah, it's like your little kid,
yeah,
man.
And
all
even
over
to this
again.
day, up until my last race that I did last year, I still, like, every time I put the fire suit on, I'm like, this is cool.
So you're still like a little kid.
I love it. Yeah. I got a new helmet last year, and I was all about it. I was like, this is so cool.
So at 12 years old, you started racing. How long did you race for?
Full time?
Yeah. Because you were still in school, right? Or were you homeschooled?
Nope, I was still in public school.
Okay.
Yep. I raced full time from when I was 12 until I was about 18.
No kidding.
So I did full time for about 6 years.
Every weekend?
Pretty much, yeah.
No kidding. So was it a family deal, like you, your dad, your mom, and did you have brothers and sisters as well?
Nope, so I'm an only child.
Okay.
Probably the only reason I was able to race. Because,
right.
So I got lucky for a bunch of reasons. I loved being an only child. I still do.
Yeah.
And not for the reasons that most people think. Most people think it's, he's spoiled. He gets all the, and I do get all the attention. I'll be 100% admitted to that. But
well, of course, you're the only one.
Yeah, exactly. So although my dog sometimes gets, sometimes he's more important. But yeah, I think it made my relationship with my parents better.
Yeah.
It was because it was the three of us every weekend. So mom would handle, hey, and all the money that we used to race was from sponsorships that I would be the one getting.
No kidding. So you went door knocking.
100%.
No kidding. That's awesome. As a kid.
Yeah, 12 years old, and I'm going to the local deli, being like, "Hey, can I have $500? And maybe some sandwiches every weekend." And that was the.
Do you remember getting your first sponsor?
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
So our first official sponsor was a company that they don't even exist anymore, but they were back in our hometown, Thermoplastics Biologics, and I remember just being 12 years old and like, this is a mouthful. I have to say that every week, but they did rubber tubing for like hospitals and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So and they gave me $100. And I was like, this is awesome. And then I went to race that weekend and it was gone. And I was like, this is not so great. So, but yeah, I just remember that being so cool. Like, and then I started, I got to the point where I was going through stamps like crazy because I was sending letters out to bigger companies. Yep. And I was 12 years old thinking that Coca-Cola was going to come knock on my door. Yeah. Like I had that head. My head was huge.
Hey, they always say, man, you gotta shoot for the moon, man. You might hit this, you might hit the sun. You know
never
what I mean?
know. And a couple of those companies came back and they said, keep doing what you're doing. Like we're going to keep track of you. I remember Red Bull. I total shot in the dark. I was like, you know what? I'm going to see what happens. And about 3 days after I sent the letter out, a guy from Red Bull calls me and he's like, hey, we can't do anything, and like this is a little too small for us,
right?
But he was so encouraging, and he's like that.
Just getting that phone call, I bet was cool.
It was awesome.
So
stuff like that.
Did your racing motivate you to be even better in school?
Absolutely, yeah. I always did really good in school. The times when racing was going on.
Right.
So like from November to January, my grades would slip because I wasn't doing anything.
Right.
But it just, my parents always said, straight A's and we can go race.
Wow.
At the same time, I had the defensiveness and being like, well, I'm the one getting the money. Like, can't I go? But yeah, they always encouraged me and kept me motivated for school. And
your
all that kind
dad
of stuff,
was the mechanic.
Yeah.
But did he teach you how to work on the cars as well?
Somewhat. He did, and some of it kind of went out in one ear, out the other. But like I'm even to this day, like I can change my oil and whatnot. But you ask me to diagnose a transmission problem, like I'm gonna be like, you're talking Japanese to me. So,
right, exactly.
But now that I live in North Carolina, he lives in New Jersey. It's kind of it's tough, if something goes wrong with the car or my car or whatnot. I'm calling him. I'm like, can I do this? Yeah, he did everything mechanically. We had a good deal for a long time, and it was the two of us. My first year of go-karts, that go-kart was off the back of his truck. We didn't have a trailer. So we had it off the back of his truck. We showed up. We'd win the race. We'd put it on the back of the truck. We'd leave. And then all these guys with trailers and 3 and 4 cars are asking us what we did. And they would come up to my dad, who did all of our engine work, and I'll tell you, to this day, I will say none of our engines ever were illegal. They tore them down. Nothing was ever illegal. We just found a lot of gray areas.
Right.
My dad would tell everybody it was tire pressure, and it was so funny seeing those guys play with tires because that is not. We had one set of tires. Like we had one set of tires for a whole year because we couldn't afford anything else, and it was like what we did on the budget that we did it on was phenomenal. But it was
what
awesome.
is the one thing that you think racing helped you in becoming the man that you are today and owning your own business and stuff like that?
It taught me so much. Like being involved in motorsports is what I've always wanted to do. Just for the soul. Like, it sounds cliche, but I don't know anything else.
Right.
I don't know anything but motorsports. I went to school and I graduated high school with a 4.0 and whatever. And I went to college and I didn't finish college. I did a year and a half and then realized like this isn't for me.
That's exactly what I did.
It's not for everybody.
Right.
And if you want to go and your path, that's great. Go and higher your education if you need it. But I don't know anything but motorsports, and I don't have the passion for anything else that I have for motorsports. However, I'm involved.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's the fitness side like I am now, or if it was being a driver and whatnot. So it's taught me a lot of discipline. You know, I had a lot of nights where I was 14, 15 where came home, did homework, and then it was sponsor hunt all night. And 3 a.m. I'm up, you know.
People don't
sending
realize
emails,
that.
You know, and a lot of these kids now that are involved in racing, whether they have backing from their parents, like that's great. However you can do it, do it. Like if you have a love for it, whether your parents are backing it, you know, everybody knocks those kids. But at the same time, like I know for a fact that if my parents had money,
you'd be doing the same thing.
I'd be doing the same thing. So
And
why would I not?
And I do the same thing for my daughter.
You know,
Whatever I can do, I do.
exactly.
So 12 to 18, you raced. 18 years old, you graduated high school. You went to college. You tried that for a year and a half. Then what?
So I was actually involved in racing while I was in college because I actually moved from from New Jersey to North Carolina for college. I went to UNCC for a year and a half and studied marketing with a focus in social media.
Okay.
Because I figured, okay, cool. If I can't be a driver, I'm gonna
do something with the race team.
with racing.
Yeah.
I was working with a team racing modifieds for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour down here.
Yep.
And then that team shut down about a year and a half into me being in college. And I was like, all right, you know, I'll finish college. I'll have something to fall back on. And then I started, you know, I got really serious about working out and my own health and stuff like that. And I just kind of sat down. I had this realization moment. Like, I don't know. I'm sure you've had these moments where you just sit there and you're like, something hits you in the head.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, why didn't I notice that earlier?
Yeah.
And I noticed nobody was doing it. And I thought fitness is this route that I could take. You know, like I told you before, I played sports all my life. Like I said, you name a sport, I played it. I played football, I played soccer, I played basketball, everything. And athletics was always a big thing to me. So I figured athletics, motorsports, fitness, like I could tie all this in.
Right.
And at the time, that was 2016. So the fitness end of motorsports wasn't a huge, you know,
not like it is
in
today.
front of people like it is today.
Yeah.
So I moved back to New Jersey because it was a lot cheaper to live with my parents. So I moved back there and I figured, okay, I need to get into this somehow. So I did a lot of research on how I was going to get into this industry first. So I went to the National Academy of Sports Medicine and got a certified personal trainer. I also, to this day, I'm a corrective exercise specialist.
Now, what does that mean for those of the people that are listening that have no clue what you're talking about?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So obviously the CPT that I hold is certified personal trainer, so that I can train anybody.
Yep.
And then the corrective exercise specialization that I hold, corrective exercise, the way I describe it on a, you know, in layman's terms, it's what you would basically do maybe post physical therapy. You know, a lot of people, their physical therapy, I experienced a lot with some of the clients that I worked with, their physical therapy runs out. Their insurance stops paying for it. So they need to go somewhere to keep getting better for whatever surgery or whatever procedure they had done. So corrective exercise helps to fix muscle imbalances if somebody's lopsided, so to speak.
It sounds like you found that gray area for insurance purposes that you can't have physical therapy, but you can have this.
You could have a personal trainer. Yeah, exactly. So it's basically, it's exactly what it is. It's corrective exercise.
Okay.
So you can fix movement-based problems and all that kind of stuff. So
you did that. You got those 2 certificates.
So I hold those. And then I actually went to work for Planet Fitness.
Okay.
I applied to a Planet Fitness back home.
Yep.
Which the town that I'm from, there's more cows than people in the town. So, you know,
in New Jersey?
Oh yeah. We're driving 20 minutes to the grocery store. We're driving 40 minutes to a 2-lane highway.
You think of New Jersey and you think of like downtown. You think of
no, not where I'm from. Like it's, you know, the stars come out at night. So it's, you know, I've had people visit my town and they're like, where are you from? So they always joke that I belong in the South because I'm from the South of New Jersey. But it's, in reality,
just like me being from South Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
So you worked at Planet Fitness?
Planet Fitness, I worked there. I worked with Planet Fitness for almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And I started off as a trainer. I was just a trainer there, and it was an awesome spot for me to perfect my craft almost.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. I didn't know that about you. That's cool.
I learned a lot from that.
I love that place. Matter of fact, I pay them. I have the black membership.
Yeah.
And I can go anywhere in the country. And, people like joke around with me about it. But Planet Fitness, and no, they are not sponsoring this podcast.
No.
But I will say I love it. It's always clean. People are always friendly.
Yep.
I mean, everything that they promote.
Yeah.
Is really true.
It is. Absolutely. They have
so.
they have an awesome business model, and my business background comes from motorsports, but I saw it in them, and so I worked there, worked at one of the gyms as a trainer, and like I said, I learned a lot. There was so many different clientele. And you're not a personal trainer at Planet Fitness. You work with 6 people at a time.
Right, yeah.
And all those 6 people might have different problems going on.
Absolutely.
So this person just had a double knee replacement. This person's totally fine. This person's training to go in the Army. Like, okay, now I got to work with all 3 of you at the same time.
Right.
And you're not all going to do the same thing.
So you learned your people skills.
Yeah, exactly. I was able to perfect that. And I did just the trainer for about a year there. And then I got promoted to a director of health and fitness. So I oversaw the training program in 9 Planet Fitness locations in northern New Jersey.
Cool.
So it was awesome. And the only reason I left was to chase this motorsports thing again, because I got to a point where I was like, yeah, well, maybe motorsports is, a forgotten
calling you home
dream.
again, huh?
Yeah. And then I just started.
So did you have, not to interrupt. So
yeah,
I'm okay. So 3 years there, you were kind of like getting burnt out. You wanted something bigger. You wanted something more. Did you have what we call in this business an aha moment?
Yeah.
Where you finally, it's like, aha, I can put these two together again.
Yeah. And I'll be completely I wasn't really getting burned out or anything with Planet. I got an awesome job. I was in a management role.
Yeah.
I was living at home, so I was saving a lot of money.
Yeah.
I just, you can't. I'm a firm believer you can't put a price on happiness.
Absolutely.
And
it has nothing to do with money.
No, it has nothing to do with money at all. And granted, okay, if I could pay my bills, I'm happy. Yeah, I need to pay my bills, but that's fine.
Money is not everything, but it's right up there with oxygen.
Yeah, exactly. I need it, but it's not the most important thing to me. So it's kind of an oxymoron. But
and trust me, if you're going to follow a dream, you're going to have those times where you're broke.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you want to follow that dream. They always say climbing a mountain, getting to the top is cool, but the stories happen
on the way up.
On the way up.
Yep.
And that's the coolest part. And not only, I have always said that when I climb that mountain, I want to take as many people with me as I possibly can. So when I do get to the top, I'm not up there by myself going, look what I did.
Look what we did.
Look what we did. Exactly.
Yeah. So like I always say, I got into a routine of saying that from the racing side.
Yeah.
Every interview I did was, oh, well, we did this, we did that. I've never been an I person.
Right.
Even not only just in motorsports, but even when I worked for Planet Fitness. I worked for Planet Fitness, and I would come up with these ideas, and I would come up with these programs and all this stuff, and I would say, oh, we did this, and we did that, and everybody's like, dude, stop saying we. Like, you did all this. And I'm like, I understand I did, but,
absolutely.
I didn't get everywhere by myself. So
you leave, and you come back to North Carolina.
Yeah.
With a dream.
With a dream. And that's literally about all I had. I had a dream, and I had my bike on a bike rack in the back of my car.
Okay, so was it literally you packing up your car with your bike on the back?
Pretty much.
I just want to set this whole visual for people that are listening right now.
Yeah.
For this.
22 years old, moving out of the house for the second time.
What did mom and dad say?
What's that?
What'd they say? Were they proud? Did they tell you that you were dumb? Did they tell you?
No, I don't think they would ever tell me that unless I proved it to myself first. So my parents would always be the first ones to tell you, I told you so, but they would never not support it in the first place.
Right. No, absolutely.
If I came to them and I had a legitimate enough reason to say, hey, I'm doing this, my parents would be like, whatever you need, go get it. So
cool.
And that's one thing, like my parents have always been so supportive of whatever stupid dream I've chosen to pursue. But this one has been, this one's been awesome. So we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but I came down here, I left Planet Fitness, and even all the friends and the family that I gained at Planet Fitness, even they all said like, dude, go do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is your deal. So,
so you get down here with no clients.
Yep.
No marketing, nothing yet.
I didn't even have the business name, anything. I had sketched out some logos.
I'm laughing with you, not at you.
I know.
love this. This is great.
I came down, had an apartment. I had a job lined up when I was moving down.
Okay.
And it was with a gym around here.
Okay.
And it was a management role
Yeah.
with a gym. I was like, I just have something. And then I got down here and my job description magically changed. And I wasn't even going to be able to pay the bills with that job. And my hours were 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
So my thought process was, I can't pay the bills with this. I'm working 80 hours a week for you. I might as well work 80 hours a week and not be able to pay my bills for myself.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I lasted about a week there and then just started hitting pavement. And
when you say hit pavement, what did you start doing?
Social media is a big thing anymore.
Yep.
So sending messages to people, reaching out. Hey, my name is Hunter. This is what I do.
Really?
And then physically,
hey, I'm a personal trainer. I'm this, I'm that.
I walked in to a bunch of places and just said, hey, this is my gig. Like, I had my cousin, my cousin design a logo for me. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, okay, this is all starting. And it was kind of like within a week, I went from nothing to maybe I have something here.
Yeah.
So, and as I was putting together the social media platforms for the business and the Fit Stop Performance Instagrams and Twitters and stuff, I was like, all right, I need to do something like with this. So
tell people what your all your social media platforms are so they can reach you.
Yeah, so Facebook, it's Fit Stop Performance. Fit Stop is one word. So and then Twitter and Instagram is at Fit Stop Perform. And then you can follow us all there. And then our website, www.fitstopperform.com. All our info is there. So what we basically do is our focus, not even really our focus, but our specialty is in motorsports.
Okay. Because you're like
kinda
literally
surprising.
living in the middle of all of it. You know what I mean?
So our specialty is in motorsports, drivers, pit crew, mechanics even. Being the son of a mechanic and somebody who works with their hands, I understand a lot of the problems that can come physically to some of these guys.
So you're telling me that people will come to you then, not just to get bigger, not just to do a marathon, not just to have more stamina.
Mm-hmm.
You'll work with other people in the business, not just the drivers.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I have a couple of PR guys. Like, we work with everybody, not only in the business, but we work with anybody, period. I have a lot of people that are just, everyday moms and dads going to work.
I saw a video that you did not long ago, and we have some mutual friends, and they paint a lot of the helmets
right
for the drivers and stuff like that. And you were showing them some different things that they can do so they keep their hands loose.
Mm-hmm.
For the people that do use their hands a lot, like maybe keyboards and stuff like that, what kind of things, maybe they're listening to us right now on this podcast and they're like, I know exactly what he's talking about. My hands cramp up. What can a person like that do to kind of loosen up?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do and with little to no equipment. That's the big thing is a lot of these people think, oh, I got to get in shape or I got to fix this or this hurts or whatever. I need all these pieces of equipment. You really don't. So like you said, that video, those guys painting helmets, their hands are on airbrushes. Their hands are really kind of just all put together and those muscles over time, they learn that. Those muscles learn to be cramped like that. And then they just stay that way. I say all the time that muscles are stupid until we teach them otherwise. Right. So, they're dumb until our brain says, hey, open, like do something else. So we'll take tennis balls, even something like that. I have a couple of guys that just keep tennis balls or whatever at their desk. And they can just kind of run their hands over top of it and, just
And what does that do for the muscles?
So it takes the muscles, it opens them up. That's in simple terms. That's what it does. It opens them because they stay contracted. They stay closed like that. And then they just learn, hey, I'm going to stay this way. And then you have to say, no, open.
So do you remember getting your first driver then that came to you and said, hey, listen, okay, I need help. I'm a mess.
Yeah. Yep. My first driver that came to me was, Spencer Boyd. He's a NASCAR Xfinity Series driver. He came to me and he didn't necessarily, in his words, say he was a mess, but came to me and said, we got to do something. So, and I was like, trying not to be that, oh my gosh, somebody's coming to me.
Yeah.
So, played it cool. And then, and we've been working together since. So he's, improved
So do you do
dramatically.
everything from dieting to everything, as far as working out, telling him what to eat? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll
Stuff like that?
we'll cover pretty much grounds of everything. So the biggest thing we cover is the physical and the mental training.
Mhm.
And I say the mental training because a lot of this sport is in your head as well. It's not so
Absolutely.
much, not always just physically demanding.
Well,
but,
since we're just talking right now and you are on my podcast,
Mhm.
and I feel like I can ask you just about anything because I
Yeah.
told you I am not going to hit the stop button until we're done. So I just feel like I can get some free info out of you right now. What would you suggest from people that travel a lot?
Mhm.
And what I mean by traveling is in an airplane, because it's one thing if you're traveling in a car or a bus or a semi and stuff like that, you can sometimes carry good food with you and,
Right.
and eat properly.
Mhm.
Me, I don't eat right. When I'm home, I walk anywhere from 5 to 10 miles a day. I ride my bike 10 to 20 miles a day. I do all the right things when I'm home because
Right.
it's easy
Yeah.
when I'm home.
And you take advantage of it when you're home.
And I never know what kind of hotel I'm going to be at. You know that I'm at the track a lot of hours.
Yep.
When I come back, the last thing I want to do is find a good sit-down place to eat. It's
Yep.
usually Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King, somewhere like that. And I
Right.
stop by and don't eat right, then go to sleep,
Mhm.
wake
Yep.
up and do it all over again for 3 days.
Yeah.
What would you say? What advice could you give the people that are listening right now that do travel,
Mhm.
that can't cook all the time for themselves? What can we do?
So we have this problem a lot with our driver.
So it's not just me?
No, not at all. We have this problem a lot with our drivers and our PR guys and
Yeah.
anybody who travels with this crazy circus
yeah.
that we call NASCAR or IndyCar, whatever whatever their series is. And so I kind of looked around and I did my own research and I looked at, okay, meal prep. That's the easiest thing to say is say, hey, cook all these meals, put them together, ship them with the hauler. You have them at the racetrack.
Yeah, that would be one
That's
thing.
easy.
Right.
But one, not everybody can do that. Two, folks that don't travel with a hauler can't do that.
Right, like an
Exactly.
airplane and stuff
So
like
the
that.
biggest thing that I can say, and I started doing this with some of our guys that don't necessarily work as a driver or anything or with a team
Mm-hmm.
specifically, and that's prepare, but look at what's around. Once you find your hotel, so for example, you find your hotel, you're staying
Yeah,
here
there's a
this weekend.
Sonic right next door, and right next to that, there's a Waffle House.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So that's awesome. I mean, depending on who you ask, but prepare and see what's around. And if you have to, go to the grocery store that's around and say, hey, while I'm there, I'm going to grab stuff that doesn't need to be cooked. There's a lot
Like
of,
what?
There's a lot of frozen meals that you can get, like those the typical
Lean cuisine
lean
stuff?
cuisine, something you can find in the frozen.
So you're
food
saying
section.
it's not really, really good for you, but it's better than
It's
eating.
better than what you could have.
Right,
Yeah, and
right,
I don't
okay.
know many hotels that don't have microwaves. So, although I've probably been in a couple, but
Right, yeah, me too.
But prepare with what's around you. If
Okay.
you know where your hotel is, look at the area.
What's the best thing to snack on throughout the day?
best thing to snack on throughout the day if you can have it? If you have access to it, I like vegetables.
What's the best vegetable for you? Because everybody seems to argue about this one.
Yeah, as far as like a snack style vegetable,
Yeah,
that
like,
kinda
I mean,
just
are
conveniently
carrots-
have. I like carrots. I like celery. I'm a fan of raw broccoli. You're making that face,
Yeah.
right now, that I'm sure a lot of people are making on it right now, listening to this. Vegetables I just think are great because you can eat them raw, like no matter what they are.
Yeah.
But so you'll see me kind of around the races. You'll see me walking around the pits with maybe like a bag of carrots or something. I'm big on that. Fruit. For me, I'll have fruit if it's before like noon, just because the sugars and fruit
Right.
stick around with you for quite a while. So, regarding I can burn them off throughout the day, I'll have them too. There are even some little things that you can do too. So one thing that I always tell people blows their minds is you have a regular Lay's potato chip and then you have Doritos, nacho cheese Doritos.
Right.
Just out of curiosity, which one do you think would be better?
I would
The lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, I would say the regular potato chips.
Okay, so it's actually wrong. It's the Doritos.
Really? It's the Doritos?
So the Doritos may have more sugar and maybe processed stuff in there, but they're tortilla based. They're not potato based. So when it comes to actual overall health,
wow!
yeah,
Look at you.
Little stuff like that could,
Now,
if you have the option.
let me give you a little tidbit, and you might be right, and I'm sure you are because it's your business.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that point.
Yeah.
But for me, because I talk so much,
Mhm.
that they say that when my throat is starting to feel scratchy, to eat those potatoes because of the oils inside there that lubes your throat up.
Yeah.
Just what I heard. I don't know, but I was just like, you know what? You're gonna throw me a little statistic. I'm gonna throw you one.
Yeah. People.
But wow, so Doritos are better for you than potatoes.
Well, let's not go out and say everybody go get
lesser
Doritos.
Of the two evils. Right.
Yeah. Of the two evils, yeah, absolutely. Anything that's going to be, like I said, a tortilla-based chip is a lot better off than a potato-based, full salt, full sodium chip.
Now let's talk about working out.
Okay.
Okay. Most people, they think that right away, I'm going to start working out again.
Yeah.
And even for me, I mean, I will go months and do everything right every single day. I will do my 200 to 300 push-ups. Yep. I will walk. I will run. I'll do it. And then all of a sudden I get into a week that I can't because I'm too busy. I'm too tired and it's all gone.
Yep.
A lot of people jump right into what they think. They jump right back into where they were a week or two ago. And then you're sore for 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah.
Is it better to just relax a little bit and instead of walking 5 miles, you walk that first 1 mile and then stop? You force yourself to stop. Is that what you should do or shouldn't do?
Yeah, what a lot of people...
Do you kind of know what I'm asking?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're asking because I have to yell at people quite often about this. But
so there is a point to actually stop working out then.
Yeah, your body needs the rest. Fitness is my life, and not only do I teach people how to work out and I tell people to work out, but I have to do it myself.
Right.
So, and a lot of the stuff that I've learned because I tried it on myself first. So there is a point where your body, needs rest, and you'd be surprised at how fast you kind of lose what you don't use. So if you don't use it, you lose it. Is one thing that we discuss a lot. So
that all by itself mentally messes with you.
Yeah.
Or at least it does me. Because, man, I tell you what, when you're working out every single day, man, it just makes you feel like $1 million. But after a couple of weeks of eating crap food and not doing the right things, man, you just feel like crap.
Yep, absolutely. And it's a fine line because a lot of the population thinks that if I work out, they have the mentality that if I work out, I can eat whatever I want. That's not the case at all. I mean, you need to have the total package. Yeah. Realistically, you need to have the total package.
How many times should someone eat a day?
I get that question a lot, and it's kind of different. It's difficult to answer because every person's going to be different. And so in a general just world, depending on what your goals are, some people will say, oh, my goal is weight loss. My goal is body fat loss, which is totally different from weight loss.
Right.
Muscle gain, anything like that. You're looking anywhere within any of those goals, anywhere between like 3 to 6.
Times a day?
Yeah.
So me eating like once a day crap food is not the best way to be going about this whole thing of...
Most likely not. One meal a day kind of deprives you of...
What I need to start doing then, what you're saying is, and I'm sure I'm not alone, what I need to start doing is snacking better.
Yeah.
Therefore, that will at least make me feel better instead of that one time a day.
Yeah, and that's my problem
and almost
too.
like gorging because I'm so hungry, my body's so hungry that you make yourself sick.
Yeah, and your body does get used to eating habits like it gets used to exercise. So if I'm eating once a day and I'm having this huge big meal from Waffle House, so to speak, like, I'm doing that, my body's going to get used to that. And then if I don't have Waffle House once a day, it's going to start being like, what are you doing? Like,
right.
What are we doing? But if I'm eating, eggs in the morning, around noon, I'll have some ground turkey and sweet potatoes. And then tonight I'm going to have chicken and potatoes and green beans or whatever. I only say that because that's literally what I'm having today. So
right.
like, that's everything today. So
and you already prepped for it?
I have all that. Sundays, if I'm not at the racetrack, Sundays are spent cooking. So it's just for the whole week. And, just like I said, that preparedness. So
not everybody lives in North Carolina. So there is going to be thousands and thousands of people that listen to this podcast that do not live in North Carolina.
Right.
Are they able to work with you not being here in North Carolina?
Yeah, absolutely. We have an online program.
Really?
I do have an online program. Yep.
Okay.
So what we offer, obviously things have to be a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I can't be over you and say, hey, what'd you eat today? Hey, what'd you eat today? Like, I mean, I could be, but I'm going to be blowing up your phone every couple of hours. So, what our program offers online, program design for your workouts, because one thing that people struggle with is they'll go to the gym and they'll say, okay, I'm going to do the treadmill for 20 minutes. I'm going to go pick this weight. I'm going to go use that machine just because whatever. Like, and then you leave.
How'd you know
like,
my workout?
Yeah. I worked at Planet Fitness for 3 years. I saw it plenty of times. So, so having the structure is everything when it comes to
You are
anything.
absolutely
Structure.
right. So if you are telling me on Mondays, I know you're home, go do this, this, and this.
Yep.
That's what I need to do.
Exactly.
And
So-
nothing else. And
Yep.
listen to the professional.
Yep. And a lot of times you will see a program, whether it's from myself or it's from another trainer or whatever, and it might not be a lot of stuff. It might look like, and you might get it done in 35 minutes. And you're going to say, oh, well, you know, I was only there for 35 minutes. I feel like I should do more. Sometimes that's not always what you need to do.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so like I said, what our online program does is we do the complete program design. So you have what you're doing, when you're doing it. Here you go. This is Mondays. This is Tuesdays, Wednesday. We'll also do what we call nutrition education. So it's just, this is the foods that are good. This is what could help you for your goals. And over time that may change. We may get a little bit deeper into that, but yeah, so we have all the
Hunter,
structure.
I'm actually kind of excited. I might be, going onto this online deal that you have here.
Yeah, man.
Is it affordable?
Absolutely. My whole structure, I looked at the fitness industry and I looked at the motorsports industry, and I was that driver on a budget, and I looked up, and I still do look up to some of the biggest trainers in this sport, and there's not many of them.
Right.
There's probably 2 or 3 that are really like big enough names for me to be like, I modeled everything after you.
Right.
And those guys to this day still inspire me, and it's awesome that I can call them friends now. But they have these big guys, and that's cool. Like, that's awesome. But I was that driver on a budget, and if I wanted to train with them, I was going to have to work for 90 hours a week at Planet Fitness.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my program is literally designed for anybody on a budget.
Okay. So I get another question. Man,
Yeah.
this is awesome. We only got 15 minutes left, but
Yeah.
so what's the youngest driver or person that has come to you? Because listen, you said it just a little bit ago. This business is starting to get crazy. I mean, there are kids 3, 4, and 5 years old racing like they are Jeff Gordon's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. They have the money backing them. They have everything. I mean, they are literally, they're going to be superstars.
Yeah.
Have you had one of those young kids yet, or their families come to you and say, I need you to start working with my son or my daughter?
So the youngest that we've actually had approach us and say, hey, will you actually work with us? We had a 12, which hit home to me because that's when I started racing.
Yeah.
So it was 12 years old. But we've had a lot of interest on our social media from people too that are out in California or wherever, saying, "Oh, my son is 8, races go-karts. So, could you suggest some things to us there?" So, but physically actually coming to us and saying, "We want to work with you," is 12. So.
So then you will work with like cheerleaders and baseball teams and stuff like that as well.
Anybody who wants to be a better athlete, or anybody who just wants to be a healthier version of themselves.
Hunter, ever since I've known you, and that's been about 9 years, I mean, you've always been that kid that reminds me of me, that's always upbeat, always positive. But I know you're not, because you're human. So, I mean, in being, what I do for a living, I'm a motivational speaker. So I'd be lying to you if I said I was like this 24/7.
I think everybody would be.
And who inspires you when you are having one of those days?
Oh, you have time? There's a lot. I mean, my parents 100% would be the number one supporters of me. They're constantly, if I have a bad day, bad week, whatever it is, their first thing is, relax. There's always next week. There's tomorrow. Just move on. And you never really know who's watching. You never really know what's coming next.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that have happened in my life that are currently happening in my life that I'm like, I never would have guessed this would have happened. So, this weekend, there's the big race at Charlotte, and it's like I'm going there as someone's trainer, and I that's insane to me. Like, that's,
Yeah, absolutely.
so seeing that too inspires me a lot. Like seeing what I have done, I can reflect a lot and say I'm 22 and I've done this all on my own. Like,
Absolutely.
so previous experiences have really been like really get me on those bad days.
And
So.
I don't know about you because we're kind of in the same business, but actually when you're having one of those days and you go to start to work with somebody else, knowing that you're helping them, really all of a sudden just pumps you up. It makes you feel good.
100%.
Like, now, do you actually work out with some of your clients then too? So not only are they working out, you're working out as well?
Yeah, definitely.
So how many times can you work out a day? I mean, that's like Guy Fieri doing like 2 and 3 restaurants a day, and he has to eat at all those restaurants every single day. So you telling me that you're working out 3 and 4 times a day?
Yeah. So I'll work out personally 7 days a week. Just what those workouts are is a little bit different each day. So, I always joke that Sunday's my rest day, but it's actually just cardio. So like this past Sunday was a rest day. I didn't touch any weights, but I went for a 10-mile bike ride, like something little like that. But, depending on the time of day when I'll start having clients throughout the day is if I'll work out with them or not. Sometimes my day starts at 5 and ends at 7, like 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Other days, I just have the mornings, and I can do my own workout by myself in the afternoon. So it really just depends on the day. But I've worked out with my clients before, absolutely.
What has been the most rewarding thing about your job or your business so far in your career?
So far, you always have that, and maybe not everybody, but most people who have success in kind of what they do kind of had somebody that either got you this far or got this to happen or whatnot. And
absolutely,
like we talked about earlier, Spencer Boyd was my first driver client when I got down here. And it continuously happens now, but the first time it happened really hit me. I was with him at Bristol earlier this year, and he just had a bad race. It was not good. And, he salvaged it and whatnot. And I had to bounce as soon as the race ended. So I left. I didn't get to say goodbye to him. And I got to the car, and he shot me a text and said, "Hey man, felt a lot better after this race than I did in the spring here." Little stuff like that. Yeah. Like
absolutely.
Just saying, "Hey, like I appreciate it. Things are awesome. What we're doing is on the right track." Little stuff like that goes such a long way. So I think getting that's big.
Awesome. What passions do you have outside of working all the time and working out? I mean, are you still racing once in a while or?
No, not since I moved really.
Okay.
If somebody's listening and wants to call and say, "Hey, I need a fit guy to put in the car," I'm ready. But I've always said in my life in general, and this has been, I'm fortunate enough that my passions have carried me through my entire life. Like I never really lost interest in what I do. So my 3 passions of life have always been motorsports, has always been top. That's been my thing. I love racing, no matter if it's tractor pulls or if it's NASCAR. I'm all about it. Fitness is a really close number 2, which is why this business works so well.
Right.
And then a number 3, and this is kind of a total outlier, but it's always been something that I fall back on and kind of gets me away from the other 2, is country music.
Really? So do you play too?
I don't play. I'm just a shower singer, but but yeah, I could get lost in, hours of just country music, and just because I can connect to a lot of country music.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
That's just kind of my, my cousin's a songwriter. My cousin's a musician. She's always been writing her own music, and she'll always send me her tapes and stuff before she releases them and whatnot. And I'm always down to listen to it. And so I'm kind of like a non-licensed music critic, but yeah, country music is probably a top number 3 for me.
What's a saying you live by every single day?
A saying I live by, we
all have quotes. We have all sayings that, you know what I mean? Like, and for instance, while you're thinking about this, I'll give you like one that I have.
Yeah.
Life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how you react to it.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to have a bad day, but just watch the way that you react to it.
Yeah.
What's the saying that you like to either one tell people or that you live by?
So one thing I find myself saying to a lot of people, and I actually find myself thinking about quite often, is someone's always got it worse.
Absolutely.
And it sounds bad, but
no, it's the truth.
But when I
there's
have those,
always
like a bad day for me is maybe, a week goes by, we haven't signed up any new clients, or a week goes by and nobody's reached out to us or anything like that. And then I think to myself, well, there's somebody out there who doesn't even have a job. There's somebody out there who really cannot pay their bills this month. So I just look at that and think things aren't so bad. So that generally helps me to kind of, someone's always got it worse, and you could be, what you're complaining about really doesn't matter.
What advice could you, just because, you are a young man that has followed his dream, and there's one thing to say you have a dream, but there's another thing to say that I'm going to actually follow my dream.
Right.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people say that they want to do things, but they never do them.
Yep.
What advice can you give the young men and women listening? And I'm going to take young out of it and just say people listening, because dreaming shouldn't have an age.
100%.
Reaching for your goals and your dreams shouldn't have anything to do with age. What advice can you give, one, the younger people listening, but then the older people that say, listen to me, I'm a 22-year-old. I'm telling you that I'm a lot younger than you. What advice could you give these people that are listening, and you being that person right now that is following their dream and doing it and being successful at it? Take it away.
I think it would be kind of what I said earlier, is you can't put a price on happiness. And even if you're the only one that supports you, like even if you're the only one that's in your head going, you can do this, no one else in your life is telling you can do this, someone's telling you this is crazy. Yeah. If it's going to make you happy and you wholeheartedly believe that you can make something out of it, do it. Don't even hesitate. Just do it.
What's your favorite recipe? What do you
just
love to cook?
So
Are you a good cook, first of all?
Depends on who you ask, but like
you're like, Johnny, listen, I eat healthy. Nothing tastes good when it's healthy.
I cook a lot of stuff that most people my age are like, this is disgusting. Like, not because it tastes bad because I made it, but it tastes bad because like it's like they just don't like healthy food.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm pretty simple. I'm pretty simple, and I've had to live on a budget. So I like a lot of meals that I can cook easily and it's cheap. So my favorite go-to meal, honestly, right now, because I've done a lot of stuff in the past, but right now, it's one pan. It's a one-pan meal, so I can throw everything in one pan, cook it all together, which, like I said, very easy.
Really? What is it?
So ground turkey.
Okay.
I'll take
now ground turkey. You can get that anywhere, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Okay. I'll just put 90% lean, 10% fat. Ground turkey in a pan, brown that, and then I'll throw in sweet potatoes. I'll peel one sweet potato, cut it, throw it in there, and then I'll throw in broccoli. That whole thing, just mix it together.
How long would you cook it for?
I don't know. Generally, like I'm not much of a timer. I'm more of a that looks done kind of guy. So
now, would that be on high heat, medium heat, low heat?
I'll just go in between it. Yeah, if it really starts to get smoky in the apartment, then I'll turn it down a little bit. But generally, anywhere from 15-20 minutes it takes. And then you can throw in any kind of like seasonings. I'll throw in just, pepper, maybe a little bit of crushed red pepper just for some flavor. And then that's all together in one pan. So you can make it, if you have more than just yourself, you can make it. I'll usually dish it out for the week, and have it for lunch or dinner every day of the week, and then do something else for the next week. But that's probably my favorite right now. So
this is perfect. I got 2 minutes, and I want to ask you this last question, and that is your 5-year goal. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, and I don't mean just clients. I mean, you may have one thing that you actually want to do. Maybe it's climbing Mount Everest. Maybe it's, running a marathon. Maybe, I don't know, but just for you personally, what is your 5-year goal? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I've got a lot of goals, and I've been told in the past that I should probably narrow it down a little bit, but I'm just a dreamer. Like, I have a lot of stuff. I've run a half marathon, so a marathon is in my plans, I would say. So you hit the nail on the head with that one. I definitely love to run a marathon in the next 5 years.
I just want to do a 10K.
Yeah.
I've done a couple fives.
Yeah,
I want to do a
5s
10Ks
and 10s.
next.
That's where it starts. And then you kind of get, for me at least, I got like addicted to it and just kept running. So like Forrest Gump, I just felt like running. So
okay, so you want to do a marathon?
I'd like to do a marathon. From the business side, I've never met a business person who wouldn't say I'd like to grow my business. So
right, no,
I would
absolutely.
definitely like to grow my business. But the biggest thing is I sought out not only to build a business with FitStop, but to build a brand, something that people will recognize and say, they think NASCAR, they think racing, and they think, oh, well, FitStop, like this is the guy the drivers go to. Like this is where the drivers go. So, so just to become a name in that aspect, and be going to the races and talk to fans. And like, I love talking to people. Like,
so you want my job basically.
Hey, I mean, I like talking to people. I don't mind that. So sometimes I have to remind myself when I'm working out with clients and say like, okay, we need to stop talking and like do 15 push-ups. Like go do that. Right. But yeah, just kind of build this brand and, answer questions for people and be somebody people can go to. Like
Can people reach out to you on social media and ask you questions without you charging them?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Everything that I do can be learned somewhere. I'd rather you just learn it from me.
Right. So, I love that. Yeah.
I would just rather you learn it from me. I'd learn it somewhere. So, obviously if I have access to it, anybody does. But, I want people to learn from me and be able to say, hey, this guy taught me this. Like, this guy taught me this. Because even every day I wake up and I say, hey, well, so-and-so taught me this today. Like,
you're constantly learning.
You never know everything. To the day I die, I'll be learning something. So.
Hunter Smith, I cannot believe it's been 9 years since the day that I met you at Pocono, Pennsylvania as a young man, coming to me, watching me interview the drivers. Now I'm interviewing you on the Outstanding Life podcast. And I am so proud of you. I'm so proud to sit across from you and know that you, not one, just said that you had dreams, but you actually went after your dreams. And the first time it didn't work out. The second time it is working out.
Yeah.
It's all about relationships. And that's one thing that you are doing is you're creating those relationships, which in return is giving you clients and stuff like that. Yeah. I am so proud of you. Tell everybody one last time how they can get a hold of you on social media, your website, and everything else.
Yeah, well, first of all, obviously, I appreciate everything you said. It's been awesome to get to know you over the years, and every time I'm at a race, I make it a point to come see you.
You do.
But yeah, our social media, so Facebook, everybody's big on there. You can look up FitStop Performance, Twitter and Instagram at FitStop Perform. We're always on there as well. And we can just go on there. We'll talk racing. We can talk races that week. We can talk IndyCar, NASCAR, whatever it is. And
not even racing, because we have a whole lot of people that don't even know what racing is.
Yeah, we can talk. We can talk fitness. We can talk what your cat and dog did this morning. It don't matter. I'm there. So, and then also our website, www.fitstopperform.com. So you can always reach out to me there and send me an email or send me a message, whatever you got questions. Absolutely, I'm open.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time that we have today. I have been talking to Hunter Smith. He is the health and fitness coach at FitStop Performance. This is Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy, telling all of you, be safe, have fun, and have yourselves an outstanding day. And don't forget, you can watch all of our podcasts at motivationalcowboy.com, SoundCloud /Outstanding Life Podcast. And don't forget, you can follow us on iTunes podcast. Again, on behalf of all of us, be safe, have fun, and have yourselves an outstanding day. Thanks again, Hunter. Really appreciate it.
Outstanding Life is a Soul Bridge Studio production.